So, hello again. This is chapter four, I guess I'm calling it, of Living Loveward. And the title of this one is Love is Wild. And if you see me in person, you'll notice I usually am wearing this raggedy hat that says Love the Wild on it. And it's actually not necessarily my motto, but somewhat like a motto. It was for a company in this local area. But the hat, I wear it because it reminds me of a reality that I embraced some time ago. And that is that love is wild. Love is wild. So what do you think about when you hear that love is wild? I think a lot of people, I won't even speak for a lot of people, when I hear the word wild, usually the first thing that comes to my mind is something like a lion or a hyena or a wolf or coyote somewhere out there. And then if I were walking in the woods at night, this wild thing would come and make a snack of me. Maybe like the coyotes I heard a few days back here. But there's so much more to wildness than that. I'm right beside being in this little section I'm in right now. I'm right outside of a nature area, open space, which everything here is essentially wild. No one planted it. It just grew through the process of growth that happened when humans weren't even around. And so that is wild. And I think that the wildness of nature sometimes reminds us of the depths of our own being. When we walk in nature, a lot of times we feel better for reasons that some of us can't explain or articulate, but I think it's because the wildness in us sees the wildness of in the world or in nature, and it reflects back to us, and it harkens back to a deeper knowing that we haven't been intimate with, because we live in a world where we try to tame everything. When we first started talking, we talked about people wanting to feel safe, wanting predictability or certainty. And then we talked about mystery. All of those things freak most of us out when we really think about it. And so does the idea of love being wild. But the reality is that it is wild. That's why when people have relationships and things don't seem to be going the way that they want them to, and they may be bored or any of those things, typically speaking, who do people make a mistake and depart from their relationship with? A wild person. Truth be told, and you all know it. When we watch movies or any of those things, it's usually some wild person or seemingly wild person that shows up and attracts the stable person, or the person that we depict as being boring or nerdy. And then we think that their life, because you never watch a movie where there's a person that's wild, and then the whole point of, yes, there's the thing where they try to clean people up and make them tame, but they realize that they always loved the wild part of them. That's just what's deep inside of us. In the books by C.S. Lewis, the Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe series, there's a character, Aslan, which is a lion, and he's supposed to be indicative of Christ. And one of the characters is talking to this beaver character about Aslan, and she asked Aslan she asked the beaver, was Aslan safe? And he goes, safe? No, something to that effect. No, he's not safe, but he is good. And she asked about him being tame, and he goes, no, tame? No, he's wild. Christ's love is wild. And a lot of times I think that freaks us out, because we are kind of been conditioned into a society that has been looking for the things I talked about earlier: safety, certainty, no mystery. And when you have those things, you may feel like, hey, I got everything under control, but something always feels like it's missing. And yet we look at the world that we've created collectively, and a large part of us trying to find safety and all these other things has been the destruction of wildness. And I say we loosely, but are so freaked out by wildness that we try to tame it, we try to domesticate everything, and we don't get into the deeper intimacies of wildness. And I mean, on the surface, I look like a pretty, reasonably chill dude. I talk kind of slow, you know how it is. But in reality, I know that love is wild. I know that I live in a wild world where love is untamed, and that's the thing that is so brilliant about life. Because I've had like so many experiences. There's no reason for me really to actually be talking to anybody right now. If I just took all the experiences that I've had in my life, the ones that people wouldn't prefer, and just like listed them off, you'd be surprised that I even smile. But the reason why is because I came in contact with that wild love, that ferocious love of Christ in my context, that showed me that life is wild, life is unpredictable, and yes, there are things that happen that are harmful, that we experience as harmful. But the great thing about wildness, if you ever go in the woods, you see that the wildness, life is so persistent in wildness. You can go and you can tear down a tree. Oh my God, dude, hold on, I gotta interrupt. I'm talking about wildness, and there's some coyotes right here. Is it possible for me to turn this camera around? I don't know if you'll be able to see them. Can you see them? Dang, they're right in this bush, and I can't flip the camera in the middle of this video. I wish I could. But do you see the coyotes? Where are they? Somewhere over here. You see that lurking? That's a coyote. It's a few of them over here. Anyway, that's awesome, man. To me, that's God, like, just being like, yeah, I hear you. There's the wildness. I'm in the wildness right now. I don't know if these coyotes, coyotes don't really seem to mess with people too much. But if they wanted to, they'd come over and eat my face or whatever. I doubt they will. They've been living around us crazy humans long enough. But that's awesome. I'm watching them skulk off right now. That's the cool thing about coming out early in the morning, is I hear them sometimes, and sometimes I see them. And you never know, one might just come out, but doubt it. At any rate, but that was an awesome experience for me, because wildness is where it's at. And that's the thing that sometimes I'm being honest. Oh man, now they're running. I'm interrupting myself. It looks really cool. I think they're chasing some squirrel. Yep, they're trying to get a rabbit or something. Well, it's worth the interruption. Any rate, I don't know if they're going to catch it, but see, that's life. Ooh, so sweet. Because, sometimes we walk around in life, we're happy little rabbits. And the next thing you know, a coyote comes and gets you. But before you get got, that rabbit is living that life that's free and roaming around and living that life. And that's the life for all of us. All of us are living in that life, and we avoid the reality of it. One of the things that comes from this COVID-19 pandemic in terms of consciousness is the awareness that, it's painful to think about sometimes, but that's why you have to be in the moment. If you're thinking about what's going to happen in the future all the time, as if you're just going to figure it all out and protect yourself and be safe and solve the mystery, you're going to be missing out on most of what's happening in life anyway, even if you think you're feeling safe. And one of the things that COVID-19 has shown those of us who are trying to live from a place of consciousness is that the reality that we were already living in, that tomorrow's not promised, a few minutes from now is not promised. I'm right here making this video. I have no idea if anyone ever see it, because the coyotes might eat me on my way back to my house. But maybe not. But there's so many things that can happen. And that's the moment that we live in. And yeah, it's terrifying if you think that you're guaranteed everything. But if you're living in the presence, if you're living in the now, it's so rich. Like, the moments of life are so rich. And that's one of the things that I really want to share with people. I've been trying to over the years, and sometimes I try to do it in tamed ways, just because of the context that I may be in the moment. Because I also learned over time that there's a way to navigate certain spaces, not because that's going to, define or confine who I am, but that there's compassion sometimes in not expressing the full wildness. And I'm trying to balance that out, or trying to live in that in between space. But at any rate, I've said enough about wildness. I'm going to make some more videos until I'm done with this. I don't even know where this experiment's going, but when you go out today, look for something wild and enjoy it. Be wild for a second. It doesn't mean you're gonna go crazy and do something that's destructive, but just to be free and expansive and just leave your heart open to mystery, unpredictability, and just being. So that's it for today. It wasn't what I intended to say, but the coyotes got my attention. But I hope you connected with it in some way. And we'll see what's next.